Welcome back to our class for Data Science Day 3. Now today we will discuss about the what is Python programming and what are the introduction of the Python programming. By Python, the name Python is given to this language Python programming. Now let's see the introduction to the Python programming. Now, what we learn in this class, we know what is Python programming and history of Python programming and features of Python, applications of Python, setup of Python programming. Getting started with the first Python program. From this class, we have covered the first three topics: what is Python programming, history of Python programming, and features of Python programming. No, let's see the what is Python programming. Python is a high-level, interpreted, intelligent, and object-oriented scripting language. The Python, why Python? Python is a high-level, interpreted, and intelligent and object-oriented scripting language. When Python is handled at runtime by the interpreter, you don't need to compile your code before executing it. Why? Because Python can be used by the Python is a interpreted language. We see that Python is a interpreted. Why interpreter means they execute the code by line. You don't need to compile your code before you executing it. Python is very interesting and easy to learn language. Learning of Python programming is as easier as C language. Why? Because Python cannot interlink with any language. We can start Python without knowing any knowledge on the computer languages like C, C++, Java. So Python can be different from these other languages. The basics of Python is very simple and easy to learn by every student. Now let's see. Python's simply easy to learn syntax, emphasize readability, and therefore reduces the cost of program maintenance. Here, the cost of the maintenance of a program will be also the cost will be the less. Now let's see. Python supports modules and package, which encourages the program modularity and code reuse. Before we see that the last class we using the module numpy, we represent the arrays. We represent the matrix arrays by using very simply by using numpy package. Before the without using numpy package, we represent that with a list with more number of lines of code. But we using the numpy package, we can use the less number of lines of code. The Python interpreted and the extensive standard library are available in source or binary form without charge for all major platforms and can be freely distributed. The Python interpreter and the text extensive standard library are available in source for binary form without charge or for all major platforms and can be freely distributed. So Python can be used in all the major platforms and can be freely distributed. The Python can be available in open source. It means there is no charge for by using this Python. Now let's see the history of Python. Who created the Python? Python was created by the Guido van Rossum. Let's see. Remember the name? Guido van Rossum. Guido van Rossum was created the Python. The Python was created by Guido van Rossum. The design began in late 1980s. Soon after that, Guido van Rossum began doing its application-based work in December of 1989 by at Centrum Wiskunde and Informatica, which is situated in Netherlands. So let's see, the Python was invented at the country Netherlands by at CWI. CWI means Centrum Wiskunde and Informatica in 1989. Who by Guido van Rossum. The first release was on February 1991. The first version of Python will be released on 1991 on February 1991. Now, Python is an experiment in how much freedom programmers need. Too much freedom and nobody can read another's code. So, too little and expressiveness is endangered by this quote was said by Goodyear and what they said. Python is an experiment in which how much freedom the programmers need. They said how the freedom of the programmers was given by the Python. The too much freedom, nobody can read another code. If the freedom will be more, therefore, that no one can read the other code. So, too little and expressiveness is endangered. So, more freedom, it's not good. So, we can get too little and expressiveness is endangered. This is said by the Goodyear and now let's see why Python was created. In late 90s, Video Van Rossum was working on the Amobia distributed operating system. It is one of the type of operating system, Amobia distributed operating system group. He wanted to use an interpreted language like ABC. ABC has a simple, easy to understand syntax that could access the amoeba system cells, system calls. So he decided to create a language that was extensible. So the extensible of ABC. This led to the design of a new language which was later named Python. So it's a the ABC, the extension of ABC language is a Python language. Why ABC has a language is easy to understand syntax. It could access the amoeba system cells. So he decided to create a language that was extensible of ABC. This led to the design of a new language which was later named Python. Now let's see. Why the name Python? It was named after a dangerous snake. No, the Python can be named after a dangerous snake. So why once the Python can be see, so its the name is the Python snake. So the language will be a very tough to task. It's not that so the Python is very simple. The why the name Python comes, let's see. The Rotham was a fan of a comedy series from the late 70s. Who invented the Python? He was a very favorite for the comedy series of late 70s. The name Python was adapted from the name of the series, Monty Python Flying Circus. So the Rotham, this is a comedy series, Monty Python Flying Circus. From these Monty Python's Flying Circus, they take the name of Python. So the Rotham was created. His interest to introduce the name, their own name. So they introduce the name of that language extension of ABC is called Python. Now let's see the futures of Python programming. Python is interpreted. Why Python is let's see. Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it. This is similar to the Perl and PHP. Like what Perl and PHP, we don't need to compile your program before executing it. Directly processed at the runtime by the interpreter. Why Python is interactive? You can actually sit at a Python prompt and can interact with the interpreter directly to write with your programs. Once you see the Python installation after executing, you see how interactive the Python will be to understand. What is object-oriented? Python supports object-oriented style or technique of programming that encapsulates the code with objects. We know the concept of hooks in Python. In that, the Python can there are majorly four types. One is encapsulation, and another one is abstraction, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and another one. These are the supports the object-oriented programming. No, the Python is a beginner's language. Why Python is beginner? Python is a great language for the beginner level programmers and supports the development of a wide range of applications from simple text processing to www browsers to the games. So Python can support all the simple level programs to the text processing to the web browsers to the games also. So let's see. Bye. A simple language which is easier to learn, free and open source, portability, extensible and embeddable, a high language, interpreted language, large standard libraries to solve common tasks, free and open source GUI programming. These are the main features of a Python programming which we can use. Why Python is important, why Python can be more famous nowadays. Now let's see different applications of a Python programming. Applications of Python programming. Now let's see here. Python can be used in web development. Python can be used in data science and analytics. Python can be used in scientific computing. Python can be used in automation and scripting. Python can be used in desktop GUI applications. Python can be used in game development. Python can be used in networking. Python can be used in healthcare. So total all these we can use the Python for their to run their business. All these in all these areas the Python can be used. This is the applications of Python is web development, game development, scientific and numeric applications, artificial and machine learning, software development, enterprise level and business applications, education programs and training courses, language development, desktop GUI, web scraping application, business applications. As we see the previous in a pictured way. Now let's see in a one by one. Let's follow. Now the setup of Python programming and installation can be seen tomorrow. Thanks for coming and joining to this. From tomorrow we see from tomorrow see that the setup of Python programming and getting started with the first Python programming from the next class. Thanks for coming and joining. We will meet tomorrow. If you have any doubts, please contact One Solutions at the rate gmail 2024 at the rate gmail.com.